Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of In Review. I'm Adam.
And I'm Lawrence.
I'm Omar.
I'm Matt.
And we all played Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. Am I saying that right?
You are.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Deus.
That's the correct
We'll
saying.
stick on that for a long time.
And I believe we all walked away different opinions of the game, but we all, I think, collectively put about 100 hours or more into the game, right?
Yeah. So let's just, I guess, set some ground rules here. So this is in review. Doesn't mean we finished the game. I don't think any of us have like a good holistic idea of the entire breadth of the game. This isn't like a traditional review. It's just some dudes played a game, and now we're going to talk about it.
There you go.
And I think there may be some light spoilers, but we're going to try to keep it to the first 3 or 4 hours. So if you've already been playing the game, odds are you're already past what we're going to talk about.
In full disclosure, we played it on the PC, and we played an early build, which later got patched to be the retail build.
Yeah,
so
transitioned over into being the real thing.
Which is pretty interesting. So I guess just starting off the bat, I guess the overall structure of the game, should we just talk about the story?
Sure. I mean, I guess to start with the most basic elements, action RPG. It is kind of a Fallout 3/4 situation. You explore a semi-open world. You buy skill trees. You talk to people. You gather intelligence. I think the big difference here is that Deus Ex really tries to highlight multiple approaches. So if you're the kind of guy who wants to shoot everybody, you can. Or you can get through certain quests purely by talking to people, gathering intelligence, and leveraging that. Or you can hack through doors, which is kind of like the equivalent of lockpicking. Yeah, so there's a lot of like complicated interwoven systems that actually function together pretty well. I don't know if we want to get into the nitty-gritty of that, but the long and short is...
I liked what you said in the beginning, which you're saying right there, is like, It's almost like a genre-less game, where it is a first-person RPG, third-person cover-based. It's almost everything, and it's sort of like whatever you want to make of it, and that's one of the things I think I really liked about this game.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was just going to say, honestly, playing it, it's not obviously as big an open world as Fallout, but it was reminding me of it just because you really can do things in whatever order and way you choose. I think, Adam, you're further along in the game than I was, but I was tooling around a bank, and I don't think you had even been there yet. So it's very much reminded me of it in that way. It's very open-ended.
But at the same time, it is like a directed story. Mm-hmm. Like in Fallout, you can easily get lost, right? And you never finish the game because you get lost in the side stories. Here, you have a storyline. There are side missions, but as long as you're doing parts of the storyline, the world will move on, even if you're not ready for it to, and then you'll finish the game.
But they do a good job, I think, prompting you when that's about to happen. It's kind of the trick that all these games have to walk, is that giving you freedom, but not so much that you suffer a lot of unintended consequences. And I think this game's pretty good about walking that line. I mean, there are some times where accidental things happen. What I think would be a cool case study is at the beginning of the game, and again, light spoilers. You suffer a story-related incident that fucks up all of your augments. So you play this prologue where you have a lot of abilities unlocked because you're coming off of the last game, and then something happens, resets you back to 0. But for that to happen, you have to get to this area where this augment specialist is waiting to kind of fix you up. How did you guys do that? Because I did it a particular way, but I have a feeling we may have all had a different approach and gotten there in a different fashion.
For me, so he's in a building that's being accosted by enemies.
That's correct.
And part of the way you play this game, you can be stealthy, you can be ghost, they call it, right? If you don't kill anybody, you don't ever get seen, stuff like that. You can go in and try not to involve yourself in any of the combat, which is what I did. I went up to the roof, and then you drop down, and you just kind of sneak around some of the bookcases, and then you get down into his hidey hole.
Okay. So I posted up in a building across the street and sniped them with the tranquilizer gun.
Yeah, I didn't shoot a single person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I guess tranquilizers do count as shooting.
Yeah. I
don't know, but like, yeah, I've once I kind of started on that path, I have been, since playing the game, trying to kill... I think I've killed pretty much nobody. One person killed themselves. I did something where I knocked a guy out, and then he like fell down a hole. And it was like, oh, Jensen, you killed a guy. And I was like, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I had the same problem in Gollum City. I'm getting a little ahead. Where I would trank a person or stun them or whatever, and the person behind them would just mow them down with bullets, and then they would be dead.
Awesome.
And I don't know if that counts or not, but when you get to the guy, he's like, why'd you kill my people? It's like, motherfucker, I didn't kill anybody. I didn't kill a single person, but this is the way the game was made.
Still your responsibility.
It's a funny thing in the game where you can walk into people's houses and just take their stuff when they have like credits and like ammo, and you're just taking, and sometimes they'll look at you and go, I guess if you want to take my stuff. And then
they say it too. Yeah. They call you out on it, and like you get points for collecting items, and then one of the point things is like arsonist or larcenist or something.
Yeah.
Like you build this rep as being a bad guy, basically, as you're being the good guy.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things. It's the damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation. And then like, yeah, sometimes someone will accidentally die and they'll either blame everything on you or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Lawrence? How'd you get in there?
So I having played Deus Ex a lot, like I played the original, the sequel, Human Revolution, they do a really good job of reminding you at all points that there are multiple ways to solve a given problem. So when I went to that first scenario, I was like, I guess I could just snipe people, but I feel like there's an elegant solution here. I don't think I quite found one, but I did see on the map that there was like a way to get around behind. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I can shortcut it, bypass some of these dudes. But there was like a security checkpoint there with like this cop who was asking me for my papers.
Yeah.
And that spawned this whole other thing where it's
I did that part too.
Yeah, but I did it
got in
like
there.
first when all my shit was fucked up.
So I did this. I got through that before I got to the dude.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So he like sends you off to like talk to this person who will forward you documents, but it costs a shitload of money. You can also just sneak up to that person and get them to forward you documents, and then when you get there's a whole story behind why they're doing that too. But I ended up just bribing that police officer to get through the checkpoint to get around behind, and then I snuck in the building that way. But it's still, I think that kind of that series of events is kind of how this game tends to go. Is you'll do one thing with one intention, and maybe that won't work, or you'll think like there has to be a better way.
The game rewards you definitely for looking around.
Yeah, that's the cool thing.
So if you can't hack the computer and you don't have a multi-tool to hack the computer, or you don't have crafting pieces, you'll probably find a vent. And if you can't find a vent, you'll probably find a e-reader, and that will have a password on it. And I think that's actually something where I hope people give credit to the development team. Is it feels like every room, every section you go to had to have been thought of for every type of player.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I think that's one of those things that you could be thinking 6 different ways, and the game will accommodate you depending on which way you want to go.
Yeah, that's to me is the most rewarding part of this game. Apart from the fact that I think the art design is phenomenal, I think the soundtrack is incredible, but truly the fact that you can come into a situation and be reasonably sure that if the path in front of you is not the one you want to take, you can find something else. And just by looking around, and even sometimes by applying real-world logic, which is like, I have to get over this tall wall, is there another building in the area that's an equivalent height I can jump from? Just looking around, you can stack up a crate, you can jump up to it, and then do it. Or, just in the process of doing that, you'll find a vent or a door. It is really great about providing you options and then rewarding you for exercising them.
Mechanically, the game's not too different from Human Revolution. I mean, I think that game came out in 2011.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so it's actually been a very long time since I played the game. Like, there were some dialogue sections I was like, oh, this is kind of a new feature, and then I went back and watched some retrospectives like, oh wait, those things were in Human Revolution. I just forgot about them.
Well, the story is way more tied together than the other. I mean, have you guys ever looked at the timeline and how these come before the old games?
It's a prequel.
There's some notes in it was specifically missing link for Human Revolution, and this game even more so. There are characters from Deus Ex 1 that are in this now because the timelines are starting to catch up to each other.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty cool. As a huge Deus Ex nerd, that stuff's really neat, and especially because they're not shoving it in your face. It's just one line from one character that just happened to be there.
It feels like a game that was made by people who actually really enjoyed the first Deus Ex. So, which I think is a really good sign. That's what the last game felt like, and this just feels like an extension of that. It doesn't feel overall too different, other than they got rid of the overly orange color palette, which obviously had a significance in the game. But it just feels like I'm okay with like a game like this coming out every once in a while, where it's just a really good kind of open-ended RPG.
Yeah, it scratches a particular itch, and I don't mean everything to go back to this, but to me, this game really drives home what I found lacking in Fallout 4, which is like interesting writing, unique quest design, rewarding multiple kinds of approaches. In Fallout 4, it's like, there's guys in that building, go kill them. And you can do that by crouching in a corner and shooting them, or by running up to them and punching them. But those are your options. And then you finish the quest and you go back and like, hey, thanks for taking care of that. Here's your stack of caps and some experience. This is so fundamentally different in that it really does reward your independent thinking as a player, and then also providing you a unique experience based on how you want to play. And a lot of the side quests have pretty cool writing too. I played one last night, and this is a bit ahead of I guess the section we're going to talk about, but I found like fragments of an AI that had bonded together to make some rudimentary intelligence. And
I loved that part.
yeah, and that quest is signaled just by a billboard fucking up in the open world.
Yeah.
So it's just some noises and glitches, and if you walk up to it and investigate it, it sets off this whole chain of events that actually culminates in a pretty cool kind of cyberpunky story.
And it was tied to the last game,
Yeah.
where that character was a big part of the last game too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was
I completely missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
I
is so much. That's like one of the best things about this game, like basing it on previous open worldy stuff, is this has meaningful story and meaningful branching path of story. Like, not only is the way you take a situation on where shooting people or stealthing or whatever, but like the way you communicate with certain people, that also has a huge impact on how the story unfolds for you and how everything takes. And did you guys unlock the AUG that lets you read a person's emotions as they're talking to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty similar to Human Revolution.
Yeah, I didn't do that one until way later in the game. Like I am at the last situation in the game. I'm like leading up to the last boss.
Oh, wow.
And I just now unlocked that thing, and I'm like, God damn it! All of the things I missed out on because I didn't choose to do this thing ahead of time, where I could have been a better, like I could have ferreted out way more information out of people and avoided a lot of confrontation that I didn't need to do.
It's definitely a game I can see myself going back and playing. Like, I'm going full stealth. I kind of want to just go in and just go guns blazing like
I
it's a
do,
first-person
yeah.
shooter.
The gun mechanics actually seem pretty fun.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be as good a game though.
It's a different kind of game. Yeah, it's probably not as good
I mean,
as, say,
like
a COD or something.
you're real fragile in the beginning.
Yeah, but you can buy the stone skin, you can buy the like diamond stuff,
Yeah.
like the experimental
So
AUG and stuff like
that's
that.
a new addition to the game, that they have the overcharged
Yeah.
AUGs that I've actually not even touched at this point, and I'm pretty far into the game.
That would be one of the things that I would say is one of the negative aspects of this game, is they give you this thing like, here are these really cool things that we're not gonna unlock for you, and you're gonna have to make choices. But I feel like I never had to make that choice.
Yeah, they never. You're right. So there are specific level areas that necessitate certain upgrades. So something as simple as, here's a ledge, but you have to have the leg upgrade to jump to it, or here's a gas-filled corridor you just can't go through unless you get the rebreather. There isn't really anything like that specifically for the experimental AUGs, which usually revolve around superpowers. I think it's more just like, to that I read into it as like, it's kind of like the mini nuke in Fallout 3. Like, if you want an easy button to just get through a scenario, you can unlock this and be done with it. But to do that, it does require a trade-off. Unlike the mini nuke, which is just, we're giving you like 3 get-out-of-jail-free cards. So that's what I read into it. And in the same way, the multi-tool is kind of like that. It's a hack for free, provided you have the resources to do it. I'm in the same boat. I haven't used any of those yet, although like remote hacking and the Tesla would be real nice in certain situations, but I typically figure out how to solve those areas without using them, and to me that's part of the challenge.
I feel like you can get through most of the game just having kind of the basic AUGs and then having a stun gun.
Yeah,
yeah.
and kind of like min-maxing, not even min-maxing, just kind of like kind of evenly distributing your things across all of them, kind of just get you through the game. And I feel like I wish there had been more situations where I had to make a hard choice between this AUG or that AUG, because when you enable an experimental one's early game, when you enable an experimental one, it deactivates permanently a regular one.
Oh, really?
So you have to make a hard choice between, I want to be able to do this thing, but I don't need to ever do this thing again.
So that turns me off in a game like this, where it's like, I don't ever want to lose the choice. I basically just want to just max everything out and just be the ultimate.
Eventually
you get the thing that lets you unlock everything.
But I respect the bravery in this day and age, forcing players to make a permanent and meaningful choice, because, and I don't want to sound too negative, but that's one thing Fallout 4 did not have. You
really hate Fallout.
I just think that it moved away from the kind of game I like. It moved to a punishment-less, consequence-free zone of aimless wandering and
quantity
boring
over
combat.
Quality.
Kind of. I mean, I don't want to get too negative on it because it's a really popular game, whatever. But to me,
it's
to me,
okay
this
to have
is
a negative opinion of a popular game.
This is a little more profound of a player experience, and that it forces you to think and be aware and leverage the game mechanics to your abilities.
Well, going back to what Omar said too, I actually do appreciate that the game does sort of push you forward and say, this is the story, it's time to move on. And then it's also in a dystopian sort of cyberpunk world. Not fully dystopian, you're just in Prague.
It's pretty dystopian.
Yeah,
it is pretty.
It's getting there.
Yeah,
well, going back to
dystopian.
the story aspect, I do like the fact that it picks up from Human Revolution, and then it sort of asks you these kind of, it asks the game, some sort of tough questions like, okay, what happens after this event?
Yeah.
What happens when, I don't know, more than half the population of the world who is augmented could potentially turn on the world at any point. But it's also
the
interesting.
world turns on them.
Exactly, yeah. And you got this is pretty much just the definition of good sci-fi, where it's just making parallels between, our world and this world. And you could see a lot of interesting things with like apartheid and other sort of situations where there's segregation. And it is kind of scary how much it mirrors today.
The way that they implemented segregation in this game is pretty cool, I gotta admit. There's like for every walkway, there's like a normal side and an augmented side. I like that. So there's this metro station that takes you around the city. It's kind of a short, like a fast travel system, but there's like the augmented and normal side of the platform, and of course the augmented side is way at the back, and like nobody cleans it. And if you ever have a quest marker, it always directs you to use that one. And if you use the wrong one, the little cutscene of you riding the train, it's like you're just standing there and all these nice families are like staring at you in fear. And if you get off the train, the police hassle you for your papers and tell you were on the wrong.
Oh, I don't think I never put that together.
Yeah, it's and then there's a bunch of cutscenes of police just stopping you in the street and talking shit to you and like asking for your papers unnecessarily. And it's like, yeah, this is really annoying. And they know what they're doing, but they can do it, so they are. And it's kind of a cool way to make people. I'm not going to say I know what the struggle is and all that shit, but it was, I think, a really cool and subtle way of kind of making you feel that particular twinge of feeling like an outsider and feeling like nobody trusts you and everybody hates you for no reason.
Everything feels like it's on the cusp of blowing up. There's a lot of tension, and I think they actually excelled in that. In this, they picked out a very certain key emotion that's in humans that we kind of naturally have, and I think they exploited that a lot. They did it very successfully, and that's the thing is like. Part of the reason why I think I like this game so much, it feels like such a much smaller story. I know the Illuminati and everything else is involved and it feels global, but it just feels so much. I think by the nature of you just kind of staying within train stations, like you do a little bit of world traveling and other stuff like that, but you mostly stay in Prague, and then it's like you go to Golem City, but it's still within Europe, and I like that. I'm kind of cool with these really self-contained stories, and it doesn't always have to be Adam Jensen, but I do like that they're kind of fleshing out the Deus Ex universe, but keeping it still kind of small.
It feels a bit more concise than the last game, and also like the last game, it's the worlds are very, very fleshed out. They even, I think it was one of the newspapers or one of the other little ebooks you read, they even reference events that are happened in like 2015 and 2016 that could like lead to kind of the things that are going on in this game. It's really cool in that regard that they really, really take the time to flesh the world out.
Nice. Okay, so we've heaped a lot of praise so far. Aside from the upgrade system being a little strange, which I agree with, anybody have any complaints? I have a problem with the game's platforming. Jumping around as Adam is weird as hell, and you learn how to deal with it. You learn where to point the camera and exactly what to do to make him grapple onto things. But in the first couple of hours, I was like falling off of platforms, and I would get stuck on curbs and small little inclinations because you just wouldn't step up onto them.
That never happened. But so are you playing with mouse and keyboard or controller?
Controller, because the mouse look in this game is also
so
really
I was
weird.
having all kinds of trouble moving around, jumping on stuff when I was playing with mouse and keyboard, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to switch to controller, and everything just kind of fell together at that point. Like the controller design in this game is so much better than I think their mouse and keyboard design is. All of the buttons and the combination of buttons you press to make certain things happen make sense and are easy to replicate, and just moving around because at least I'm not playing as a first-person shooter. Like I don't need precise aiming.
Yeah.
But like moving around, moving his character around, peering around corners, like that stuff all works so much better with a controller.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of like Adam, like you were saying, I do kind of want to do a Guns Out run. I'm going to try to do mouse and keyboard for that, but it's going to be a little touch and go.
It took a little bit of playing with, and I think that goes back to talking about how we had an early build of the game, because apparently that was something they patched.
It got better. The mouse look did get better.
I didn't have an issue. I turned the sensitivity all the way down, and then I think I had to play with my DPI on my mouse, but like...
I guess I don't understand that. Like, I have a high DPI mouse, all that stuff, but I just don't understand playing with those two things in contradiction.
I had different settings. I just kind of played around with it. I guess I'm sort of used to playing like early access stuff, and I guess I'm a bit more forgiving. But the game to me feels really natural with the mouse and the. I changed some of my key bindings. The only thing that really bugged me, I mean, this is such a minor complaint. Some of the menus a little clunky. Like if you say you go to a dead body and it brings up this radial menu of things, and you want to just back out of this. As far as I know, you have to hit escape, which is like kind of weird to move your hand when it's like, well, man, I just want to hit tab or something easier. But
it was just B on the controller.
Right. Yeah. I could see I mean, honestly, it's such a minor complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have so few bad things to say. I guess because a game like this, it's sort of like, it's such a sandbox, and it's sort of what you make of it. And so far, the experience has just been really good. It's one of the most refreshing single-player experiences I've had in a very long time. I mean, easily 5 years because of the last Deus Ex.
Yeah, I agree. To me, it's got that feeling of like a world that I really enjoy being in and hope I get to be in for a while longer. I haven't felt like that since, like you said, Human Revolution, or like Wolfenstein: The New Order kind of had that feeling too, where there was just such care and effort put into every aspect of the game that really came through, and I really appreciated it. So yeah, I love it. Very, very happy with it. How about Matt? Omar, how about you guys?
Yeah, overall, I think it's great. If I was gonna nitpick on anything, it would probably be some of the enemy AI a few times was like really easy to deal with, even though I should have totally been taken out or forced to run away. I think one time, who's the mob boss that you get the like, not the inhibitor, whatever it's called, that allows you to unlock all of your experimental augs without having to
Otar?
balance?
Something like that?
Something
Otar.
like that.
That sounds right.
I tried to sneak in there and get it because the first time I talked to him, I didn't do the correct conversational path that allowed me to get it.
Just
so
get it for free.
Yeah, so
that
I
actually
tried
unlocks a whole quest line too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I messed up. I chose the wrong thing, and then everybody started shooting.
Oh.
And I hid, and a lot of people died. I think he died.
Cool.
I'm not sure if it was dead or not. Like, I got all the stuff, but I didn't get any
You just
quest
booked
lines.
it?
Yeah,
Fuck
I
it.
was
I'm
like,
out.
all right, I'm out.
See, I stun gunned all of them. They should have been able, because I was flanking around. There's a flank route you can go around behind them in a different tunnel, but they weren't using that at all, and they just kept coming around the corner at the exact same location, and I think I stun gunned 16 of them in a row, and they were all just piled up.
Yeah.
So I don't, it's a nitpicky thing, and I'm not sure if you could
Does have
really
that-
program that for how much of a sandbox.
Oh, there's
this
that Metal
is.
Gear aspect of like, hey, what's that? And then they walk over and
Yeah.
stand right where the body was. You just drop him. Hey, what's that? And
Playing
they
the
walk
game
over there.
stealth-wise, it actually does remind me a lot of Metal Gear. It is like a first-person Metal Gear. I did actually remember one complaint. I feel like the UI is a little clunky.
The UI is clunky.
When it, especially
Quest
in
indicators
the,
are really messed up.
The prime examples, the hacking nodes. There's just a lot of interface and a lot of stuff, and it's a little hard to just sort of, I still have yet to really get used to. I have like my hacking like maxed out, and you still have to really like, I shortcut to C and F or like, capture fortify, and sometimes I can't really tell if I captured something, and it just, you get kind of lost because it's so zoomed in.
Well, and it moves really fast too.
Yeah.
So
And well, sometimes some of the UI will be obstructing whether something is covered
like
or not.
you'll have your thing hovered over the next one because then you need to hit it right away, but it's blocking the percentage counter for the one that you're waiting on.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, like I said, minor complaint. It's still not anything I've had a major issue with. I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, it's a near perfect game.
I've had a lot of problem with the menus, like going into the menus and then being like really sluggish and weird. And I don't know, this might be a controller issue as opposed to a keyboard issue where I'm using the bumpers to get through the different tabs in the menu, and you bumper over, and then you count 1, 2, 3, and then it goes over the next one. And then
I
it goes over the next
didn't have that issue at all with
I
mouse
haven't
and
had it
keyboard.
either.
I've only had that if it's loading up the current tab because I stopped hitting bumper too soon, and then it's still mashing it, but it's loading up the current one, so it just ignores it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then one other really tiny controller issue. I've noticed that if you're in a canned animation of like getting out of a laptop or something like that, and you're holding a direction on the look stick, you'll exit that animation at maximum acceleration instead of starting to accelerate from there. So it can be a little weird. If you're knocking somebody out and like, I want to look to the right, and you're holding right, then all of a sudden your aim will just zip right over real fast.
Yeah, it was
Very
one
minor thing.
lesson I learned was not to quick save while in cover, because for PC, if you hit space, which is the thing you have to activate after the quick save loads, it will vault you out of cover. That maybe they fix it, because I know one of the issues I saw that got patched was if you tried sprinting on stairs, you'd go into this really weird slow run. After playing it this weekend, they seem to have fixed that.
Okay.
So
I've
like I
done-
said, such minor nitpicks, but I only recognize these things because I've been playing the game so much.
Well, and you're looking for it. Like,
Yeah.
part of the problem playing games like this is you end up looking for that kind of stuff because you want something to talk about. I've done that too, where I came out of a menu and then there was a person there, and I end up taking out a civilian, and the entire world erupts into everyone hates me
Because you just punched somebody in the neck.
because I was hitting B to exit a menu and I hit it one too many times, and it took out a person right next to me.
Well, cool. It sounds like everybody's pretty happy with this game. Man. Okay, so we as usual, per tradition, we have to invent an arbitrary rating.
Ogs.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it an I asked for, not an I asked for this. I'm gonna leave the this off.
Dang it,
this.
Lawrence.
Yeah. Sorry, did I take yours?
It's okay.
Oh, you got to come up with a new one on the spot.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Memes, man. we traded memes here. Adam, what are you throwing at this?
I give it a solid 10 Ogs out of 11 Jensens.
Nice. Omar, what's your rating?
11 bad Millers to 3 good Millers.
Okay.
Your scoring system's all whack.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means. Matt, did you come up with a new one? Or
Sure.
You can just use that one. That's fine.
No, I'll give it 5 out of 5 Fallout 4 since we talked about that so much in this.
I guess on like somewhat serious note, it's like this is really a game like I can't recommend high enough. Where if any interest in like a solid single player game, especially in the world we live in of the No Man's Skies and everything out there, and even if you have just a minor interest in sort of an open RPG sort of thing, like it's such a good game, and especially there's not a lot of cyberpunk stuff out there, so it's like. Obviously, I'll take what I can get, but this is such a good game, and I can't recommend it highly enough, especially on the PC.
And don't let not having played the previous one stop you from playing this one.
Oh no, there's like a 20-minute prologue that will catch you up.
They do a really, really good job in the beginning of getting you where you need to be story-wise to understand what's happening in this game.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions, if you liked it, leave us a comment. And recommend this to your friends if it seemed like content that you enjoyed.
Much like we recommended Deus Ex to you.
Deus Ex.
Man, put that shit on the box.
Deus Ex.
Square, holler at. I want that quote. Oh boy, that was close.
Get in the fucking hole, you rubber piece of shit.
I don't get how this is supposed to work.
My name is
here.
Adam.
There we go.
Okay, all right.
All right, jump in the river, Adam.
No.
It's a shortcut.
Nice shot, Elise.
Thanks. Only stroke 7.
All right, Peake, you got this.
Straighten it up. Oh, too much, too much.
No.
Get over that hill.
Nice.
There you
That's
go.
it.